Good morning, maker friends. How are y'all doing this morning? I really want to thank y'all for tuning in and for joining me over here at a maker studio today. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Kerri and I've got a YouTube channel called Mama Dares DIY. I do a lot of easy and fun but creative stuff over there. So if that's the kind of stuff you're into, you can head over there after today's live and check it out. Let's give everybody just a few seconds to hop on here. We don't want anybody to miss out on all of the fun we're going to be having today. Y'all, don't forget to let me know, are you watching us live this morning or are you catching us on a replay? I've got a super fun project planned and it's with one of my favorite stencil. It's a little bit newer stencil. It's not brand new, but it is sort of new. Y'all, it is so stinking cute. Wait until I show you which one it is. Oh my goodness. Here goes. Y'all, this stencil is called Yes Ma'am Please. And I'm going to be using this stencil today to make a present for my memo. And y'all, she literally could have made and designed this stencil herself because she's a little southern lady and she literally says every single one of these sayings. Do you want the chance to win this stencil for your very own so you can make an awesome project for your mama too? All you've got to do is to tag a couple of your friends below and tell them to hang out with us today while we make this awesome project. Y'all, are you ready to get started? That's enough talking. Let's hop onto the workspace and jump right in. Okay, so here is a closer look at our stencil we're going to be using today. For those of you who are just now joining us, this stencil is called Yes Ma'am Please. It's a big, huge stencil. Let's flip it over and I'll show you the size. So it is an 18 by 12, so it is really, really big. But I do love that you can pull out all of these funky letter fonts. You can pull out all the sayings and you can use these on different projects if you don't want to use them in as one big one. I think this is such a fun stencil. You've got lots of little flourishes here that you can pull out for projects as well. And I just think this is a great, great stencil. So let's see what else we're going to be using for our project today. So the board that I'm going to be using today actually came from the Maker Studio website, all wood, but I had to do a little bit of prep work beforehand so we could go ahead and lay our stencil down. But this is the 15 by 20 inch surface. It's on under the surfaces on the Maker Studio website if you want to check that out. We'll also have a link to it down in the description box if you want to check that out for yourself. For our paints today, I went ahead and prepped the bottom surface with our black Amy Howard One Step paint. When you're doing your project, you want to paint your bottom and you want to let that dry for at least 8 hours. That is super important. The next color we're going to be using today is our Bauhaus Buff. It's such a rich, pretty white. I'm also going to be staining the edges with our English Walnut gel stain. Y'all, this gel stain is absolutely amazing. And to seal everything off after it's dry, I won't have time to do it on camera, but I will seal everything with our matte sealer from Amy Howard at Home. Okay, so we're going to open up our stencil. And because this is a huge stencil and I have tiny little baby hands, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this in half so it'll be easier for me to work with into 2 sections versus trying to do it into one big section. If you are more comfortable doing it as one big one, then by all means, do whatever makes you more comfortable. Now, if you're brand new to Mesh Stencils and you've never used one of our Maker Studio stencils, then you want to make sure that you save your backboard here. And also you want to save the piece when you peel your stencil up. After you wash your stencil, we're going to put the stencil back on its backboard here. So let's just grab a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to cut this on the prey, I reckon. And it is big enough that you can actually use it as one, but I just find it's easier if you cut it in half. Let's make sure I can get the whole board. I might actually have to turn it sideways for y'all. Sorry if it's a little wonky for you. This is just a big, big board. Okay, so I did, again, go ahead and prep my board ahead of time with my one-step paint. I painted this last night before I went to bed. And I'm not going to put this down all the way until I get both pieces on, because I want to make sure that I can recenter them if I need to. Now I am going to slightly, ever so slightly, overlap so I don't have a bleed where I cut this. Just make sure that you're not covering up any of your words. Okay. It's just a little bit crooked. So guess what? All we've got to do is just pick it back up and lay it back down. That is the beauty of working with these awesome mesh stencils, isn't it? Let's see. Okay. So now that we've got our stencil all centered, we're just going to take our hands and we're going to burnish in the stencil. And by burnish in, I just mean I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to rub it down to make sure that the entire stencil is stuck to the surface. Now if you were trying to do this onto a freshly painted board, then your paint, your bottom paint, in this case my black, would come up with the stencil. So that is the reason that we need to make sure that that stencil, that paint job on the bottom, is totally dry. This is a super important step. If you're working with your mesh stencils and you're having problems with bleeds, then the problem is that you're not burnishing in enough. You really want to get in there, you want to work that stencil down. You want to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so now that we've got our stencil all burnished in, it's time to lay down our paint. Now you can use different colors in all of your stencils if you want to, but I'm more of a traditional girl, so I'm just going to do everything in my Bauhaus buff. I'm actually going to use a combination of my silicone squeegee, and I'm going to use my foam dome brush from a Maker Studio. And y'all, if you have never used this foam dome brush before, you are totally missing out. Like, I don't know what kind of magic Amy puts in this foam dome brush, but it is fantastic. So I'll start with the bottom here first. And these big stencils, y'all, I'm not even kidding. Like, I do get a little bit nervous just because they are so massive. So if these big stencils intimidate you, you are not the only one. No matter how many times I work with these stencils, it still makes me nervous to do the big ones. I might have gotten a little happy with my paint here. That's okay. There is no mess ups in crafting, right? Okay. Isn't this simple? I know my mama is absolutely going to love this. She's got a birthday in May, and Mother's Day is also in May. So this might be her dual present. Okay, so now I just want to take my foam brush and sort of mop up some of that excess. You don't have to do this part, but I just like to. I also like the texture that I get with the foam brush. Okay, that's it. We're going to take it up. Now, you want to make sure that you take super good care of your stencils. To do that, we're just going to drop this into a bucket of water so the paint's not going to dry. Then we're going to be able to wash it off and put it back on our backer board so we can use this baby again. Now, we're going to do the same thing that we just did with our top half of our stencil. Isn't this fun? Don't forget, if you want the chance to win this stencil, all you need to do is to comment with a couple of your friends' names in the comments, and you might win this awesome stencil. Y'all, I'm sorry if you hear my cat. He loves to craft with me. He's actually been in one of my Maker Studio videos before. He's a big orange cat. Okay. Now, you don't have to do this in just the traditional black and white. You could actually do your base in a color. So if your memo is into sky blue or hot pink, you can paint her sign in those colors. My memo is pretty traditional though. She's just gonna love this. Okay. I have one little place here where I didn't get enough paint in there, and that was totally my fault, but y'all, I'm not even going to worry about it. If it ends up bothering me, I'll just let my stencil dry, and then I can put it back on, line it back up. But honestly, I think it adds a little bit of character to our piece, and I just think it's super cute. I might actually, after all of this dries, I might take a little bit of sandpaper and just pull off a little bit of the paint so that it all just sort of matches. So now I'm just going to drop this down into my water with the other piece. Just know that you don't have to stress yourself out. Don't think your project has to be perfect, because nothing in life is perfect. Okay, so we're going to put our tops back on all of our paints. And now we're ready to stain our board. Isn't that cute? And this gel stain is super easy to work with. The color I'm going to be using today is called English Walnut. And I'm going to take my angled brush, and I'm just going to put some of that paint on there, or the stain on here. I really love this angled brush because I can get right into the edges. Isn't that awesome? That's got such a nice tip on it. I'm not sure if the camera can fully pick it up for you. I have used this gel stain in all of the different colors, but this English Walnut is one of my favorites. We're just going to go all the way around. We're also going to do the backs and the sides here. Now, once we get all of our pieces stained, I'm just going to take an old rag, just like this. We're just going to wipe off some of that excess. And look how pretty that is. And the best part about these gel stains is, y'all, they are water-based. That means the cleanup is going to be really easy. It's going to be super simple and not messy at all. Look at how nice that goes on. So once I get everything dry, or once I get everything finished, I'll let it dry, and then we'll go back over it with that matte sealer. Y'all, isn't this a fun project? It's super easy. Now, if you wanted to be able to change out what you put on your chalkboard, you could use our Maker Studio chalk art, and that way you could swap out your sayings. But I want this one to be permanent because I want my memo to be able to keep it forever. This thing is so big, I'm running off the camera. What do y'all think about this? Have you used this Yes Ma'am Please stencil before? If so, I would love to know what you made with it. You could even add pictures down in there in your comments. I would love to see the things you've made with it. If you've got questions about our project this morning, be sure to drop those down in the comments too, and we'll do our very best to answer those as soon as we are done with our live. Wasn't sure if I was going to have time. Y'all, my cats are fighting down here. If y'all can hear them, I'm sorry. But I wasn't sure if we would have time this morning to finish the whole thing, but looks like we are right on schedule. So again, if you want the chance to win this stencil, super easy. All you need to do is to put a couple of your friends' names in the comments and tell them to come hang out with us and see what we're making over here at a Maker Studio. Okay, I've got one more side, y'all. I love this color combination together. It's just classic. Are you already making stuff for Mother's Day? I know it's early, and I am the queen of procrastination, but I wanted to go ahead and make this in case some of y'all actually did stuff early, unlike me. Y'all are making me be a better planner. I need to go back and do these two sides, and y'all, this project is done. It was super easy. The hardest part was just painting the black and letting it dry, because I was ready to just jump right in. I really hate waiting for paint to dry. Okay, I'm going to wipe everything down really well. Make sure our stain is all into our cracks. And then we'll be adding in that top coat. But I won't have time to do the top coat on camera for y'all today, because this needs to dry for 8 hours, and I don't think y'all want to sit here with me for that long. Just know the matte sealer is super easy to apply. All you do is just brush it on. Okay, what do y'all think? Sorry, this is so awkward. There we go. Can you get the whole thing in there? What do you think about this project? Isn't it adorable? Okay, that's it. It's all done. Okay, y'all, here is our project all finished. Isn't it adorable? I just love this Yes Ma'am Please stencil, and I hope my mama loves the present that I'm going to give her for Mother's Day and also her birthday. That's all the time we've got for today, y'all. Until next time, happy DIYing, y'all.